Belle Therapy and Wellness. So this is actually probably the second or third time I'm making this video. So if that tells you anything about how much it's needed. Today we're going to go over an appropriate transverse abdominis activation. If you don't know what the heck that is, it's okay. I'm going to have another video explaining what the transverse abdominis is and what it does and why it's important. So be sure to look for that one coming out, but the transverse abdominis is an abdominal muscle. It's not the washboard muscle that people think of when you think of flexing abs. It's not the rectus. The washboard is the rectus. This is the transverse. This is underneath, this is deeper, it wraps around like a corset. And a lot of times when people think they need to strengthen their core, they just think sit-ups, 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 awesome. But we want to get the transverse that's a little bit deeper and just make sure that it's activating appropriately, because sometimes if it is not activating appropriately, that can lead to a lot of dysfunctions and sometimes pelvic floor issues. And we just want to make sure that everything is operating optimally so that you can live your life and do whatever activity that you want to do to the best of your ability, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead. I like to start this one with laying down, making sure you guys can see me. And then the way I always teach my patients to activate their, we'll call the transverse abdominis, the TA for short. So the way that I always teach my patients to do this first is typically on their backs, because the floor is going to give you a lot of feedback whenever you do this. So if you think about rocking your pelvis back and bringing your belly button towards your spine, if you find your hip bones and go directly beside them, you should feel a nice firming of a muscle. And it should feel symmetrical on both sides. It should feel really taut and then relax. And then you're going to feel again, that's going to feel really squishy. So squishy, and then as soon as you rock back, bring your belly button to spine, it should feel nice and firm. So this is how you can check and see if you are activating your transverse abdominis. So for example, okay, so here's my belly button, and I'm going to have my fingers here just to show you my hip bone. So I'm going to rock back, draw my belly button in. Notice that my belly button did not go up. You want the belly button to draw down, rock back, and tighten, and then relax. So eventually you'll get to where you can probably feel that tightening without necessarily having to rock back so hard. But in these early phases, this is just really good feedback for your body, and it just helps you master the movement. So let's go ahead. So what I would work up to, I would work on just seeing if you're even contracting and making sure that everything here is nice and tight. And also your rib cage. If you notice that you're really arching that back and your rib cage, this rim is pointing up, you want to try and tuck this down. So if you notice, we're rocking the pelvis back, tucking ribs down, we're really wrapping that muscle around, and then relax. So as far as working the muscle, I would work on just a couple seconds hold and then relax. You also don't want to be holding your breath while you're practicing this movement. We don't need anybody passing out at home. So you could work on a 1 second hold. You could work on holding while inhaling and exhaling through a breath. Or you can always hold, tighten, wrap, and then count to 5 seconds. If you're hitting past 5 seconds, really, it's time to progress this a little bit. So this is the very fundamental transverse abdominis activation. This can sometimes be a really hard one to grasp. So if you have any questions or concerns, please drop a comment below. I want to make sure that you guys fully understand this and understand how to tell if you're activating. Thank you. Bye-bye.